Hey everyone, it's Josh Cooper again. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to the series on meds and how to stay sane in the quarantine environment. If you've been with us for any length of time or you heard some of the previous videos, M is for you want to focus on meditation or prayer every single day. E is for exercise. You want to do it every single day. D is for diet. You have to watch what you eat. It has to be good for your body and good for your mind. And then S is sleep. You got to get enough sleep so you can transform your mind and help you carry out and not be so stressed, anxious, and all those fun things that come being quarantined at the house. But today I want to introduce the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Nick Melo. He is a retired law enforcement officer, served for 22 years. Thank you for that, Nick. I appreciate that greatly.
Thank you.
And I got to know you from our time at the gym, and then we've just kind of we hit it off a little bit, and over time, we've obviously gone closer. So when we started this, I really had the heart of I don't fully understand meditation fully. So you've been my source of information on all things meditation, because for some people such as myself that has a Christian background, right, when you hear meditation you think voodoo, or almost it's almost anti, and that's and just from our conversations I know it's nothing like that. So Nick, just tell us a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, and kind of how you got and how you came to meditation as a way to kind of just do what you do.
Right. So like you said before, I've got a total of 22 years of law enforcement, retired just this year out of some different incidents that happened in my life. And I found that I was kind of spiraling to a place of, negativity, really. I was kind of sequestering myself away, and family life was really starting to deteriorate, and family is the thing I love the most. So I did know that I needed to seek out something to figure out what was going on with me, and I found an organization called Save a Warrior, and I put in my application and I was accepted to go through their program. And when I went through their program, one of the founding pillars is meditation. And I was never a person that was heavily meditated, so to speak, and didn't really know a lot about it. But meditation is one of those things that it has nothing to do with anything, but it will give you everything. And what I mean by that is, and I talked to you a little bit about this before, praying is, you're talking to your higher power as you know them. And meditating is really listening, right? Listening to what your higher power is telling you, listening to what your body is telling you. So to get into a practice of being mindful, having mindfulness of yourself, realizing that you are not God and you can't change the past and you can't predict the future, it helps you be more present in your everyday life with your children, with your coworkers, with your friends. So anything that I am doing that's right in front of me is the most important thing that I'm doing today, right? And before, I would get caught up in my work life, and work became number one, and family kind of became number two. So to be able to do meditation twice a day, I do meditation twice a day regularly, morning and the evening. That's me. I need to be heavily meditated. Sometimes when I first got out of Save a Warrior, I was doing it more than twice a day, but the warrior meditation that I do is very simple, yet it is also a heart meditation in the same respect.
So is there anything during the quarantine that you've had to change with yourself in regards to the meditation that you were kind of surprised by, or something you've had to kind of modify just to adjust to the whole quarantine pandemic?
Yeah, I think in my past life, I would have been more hyper aroused by everything that's going on. But since I had a good foundation already, I knew to be just a little bit more present, be in the moment, and not get caught up in the whole pandemic.
Hmm.
But I have found, I can hear my children right now outside playing. That's been the biggest adjustment, I would say, shifting into not just stay-at-home dad now, but also uh, trying to help educate, keep them in line with their schooling, but also fit in my me time. And
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, you can take care of nobody. So in order to make sure your family
True.
is where they need to be and where you need to be, you need to take that time each day, whether it's once a day or twice a day, for either 5 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, and be mindful. And so that's what I use my meditation for. So I get up a little bit earlier now than I would. I make sure to get up prior to the kids getting up. So I have that me time so I can do my morning meditation and not be disturbed. We started a shift though, because there are some online courses for warrior meditation, and I've been trying to fit those in also. And at nighttime, my wife, Nikki, God bless her, she knows that meditation is a huge um, cornerstone in my well-being. So she knows it's time when I tell her I'm going to go meditate, she knows that that's very important to not just myself, but to our family and how we function. So just making sure the kids know, hey, when dad needs to meditate, I'm going to go meditate. But I don't force it upon them. But what's been great is now my son, he meditates before he goes to bed at night. He does a yoga nidra before bedtime. Really helps him settle his mind down. My little girl, who goes a mile a minute, when it's nap time or something like that, she's like, hey, we put the beach meditation on? And she loves that. It just helps calm them, settle them, and just be a little bit more mindful, and starting to build that foundation for them of how meditation is a beautiful thing.
So a session of meditation for you typically takes how long? And what does that look like?
So when I do warrior meditation, it's a 20-minute practice, and I use the Insight timer. It's a free timer that you can get in the App Store. And I go in and I pre-program. Like I said, it's a 20-minute meditation broke up into 3 phases. Each phase is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. The first phase is a nullification phase, where you have a mantra, and the mantra is Ah and Ba. So while you're doing this mantra, you're also doing, I kind of call it a poor man's EMDR, where you're doing finger tapping. I'm not sure if you can see that. But as you're doing this finger tapping, you're also saying your mantra, ah, va, ah, va. And what that's basically doing is calming down your amygdala. And your amygdala produces all these chemicals that you don't really realize: cortisol, dopamine, adrenaline. And this really helps start to calm that. And at first, it can be very busy. You can hear all these sounds. But if you really lean heavy into the mantra and your finger touching, then you can feel your body start to relax.
So let
Once
me
you move into yeah, go ahead.
sorry. So the whole thing with and like I'm super ignorant to this, which is why
Right.
I have you here. One thing that I've heard just from the whole thing, like with yoga. So the whole
Right.
thing with with yoga, the church, they say, well, when you're doing the ohms, that's I've heard some people say, like you're summoning bad spirits or something like that. So for
Right.
people with that little, with that hold up, what would you say to them regarding that?
So, like with the mantra of Ah and Va, the mantra was basically, there was a doctor, Andrew Newberg, and he wrote a book. It's called How God Changes Your Brain. And he's actually the one that came up with this meditation. And Ah and Va is nothing more than two, not even words, but two phrases that you can use that you can't associate with very many other words in the English language. There's not very many words that you can start off with ah or va, unless you're saying vase or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but if your mantra was tomato soup and you were just saying tomato soup, tomato soup, tomato soup, that would be fine. But then your brain would start being, oh, what is good with tomato soup? I like a little basil in there. I like a grilled chicken, so you can really start to drift off course of being mindful.
Yeah.
So ah and va is not so much any type of chanting or anything like that. It's more of a centering technique to where I'm only focusing on myself.
Yeah.
If you would choose to, you could do warrior meditation, and change it up a little bit and, insert whatever you would like from your religious preference, and it would be just as fine as long as you lean heavy into the mantra.
Gotcha.
And as far as the finger touching your meridian points, this is something that has been used by doctors with people that have been affected by trauma and things of that nature, just to kind of give them something to do to center themselves, to be able to get to the point where they can find their breath and move past whatever hiccup they're having during the day, so to speak.
I'm trying to do it now. Like, I don't even know if I'm coordinated enough to do it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But once you get past that first phase, you go into a breath awareness phase, right? And breath awareness is, it's something that even when I was a little child, hey, breathe. If you got hurt, hey, breathe. Well, I never really realized, the proper way to breathe. So in the second phase, you continue your mantra, but on your inhale, it's through your nose and you're still repeating the mantra. So inhale ah, exhale va, and you exhale through your mouth, right? And you want to be seated to where you get full lung capacity and full exhale. Now, what's really important about breath awareness is I hit a little bit upon your amygdala and the type of chemicals that are produced in your brain, right? Well, there's no way to completely stop those chemicals from being produced in your brain. But there is an effective way to stop the production of those chemicals once they start, and that's through your breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I was not really totally on board with oh yeah, okay, I'm sure that's what it does, right? But I took it upon myself to go ahead and read Dr. Newberg's book, and what they did is they had these test groups and they hooked them up to fMRIs where they could see real-time production of different chemicals in your brain. And they saw within the first 2 breaths, these chemicals like cortisol were being diminished rapidly because the production was ceasing through the amygdala. So finding your breath and getting centered helps you do that. And these chemicals that are being produced in your brain are things that have to do with fight or flight response, So if you have high anxiety, if you are either in law enforcement, first responder, or you've had a lot of trauma in your life, those things could be a very real, you know, danger to you during your day, depending on what you're doing. So being able to find your breath and get centered is very, very important. And then that transitions into your third phase, which you can just drop your mantra and you're just what we like to call, you're just being, right? There's no thought, there's nothing that's going on in your head. You're just full relaxed. But it's very hard at first to do that. So you can always step back into phase 1 or phase 2 to recenter yourself and then get back into phase 3, which is the metacognition phase. And through this, everybody starts where they start. So you're not going to be just like CrossFit. If you go to CrossFit every once in a while, you're going to be sore every time you do CrossFit. So if you've done meditation before, but you only do it once a month or you just try it here and there, you might really not reap the benefit if you were to institute this into your daily practice, right? And at least try to have some type of meditation or mindfulness. And I'm not talking about sitting there looking at the birds having coffee or what have you, but a true mindfulness, maybe outside sitting in the sun where you're just relaxing and not thinking about all the different things that you have to do in the future or what has happened to you in the past. Because a lot of times we get confused with what had happened and the story that you've made up to help you cope with what happened, right? So that's where meditation helps you start to think, maybe, just maybe, what's going on for me is not what's happening for me internally. It's not what's going on for me internally. So that's being mindful, and meditation that's why it's so important to me in my life. I think that answered your question. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So it takes, you think, probably what, like 20 minutes? Are all of them the same? I mean, because you mentioned warrior meditation.
Yes.
So I assume there's different types of meditations that take different
Yeah,
amounts
there's
of times.
right. On the Insight Timer, there's 27,000 different types of meditation.
Oh.
So you can kind of pick your poison on what works for you.
Yeah.
Warrior meditation is very difficult in the sense that you have to practice being mindful to the point where you can do this with background noise. You can do this where someone is kind of guiding you, but when you do it in silence, sometimes things start to pop up. And in your third phase, you can have thoughts, feelings, sensation. You start to think about things when you don't have finger touching and or mantra going on or background noise. So you really have to train yourself and chip away each day, so to speak. 15 minutes to 20 minutes. You can divide it up 5 minutes or 6 minutes and 40 seconds each session. But in the mornings, I do a morning meditation, and it's only 5 minutes long. And it's just a waking of gratitude. So it's 5 minutes of finding your breath. It's a guided meditation, and they walk you through having gratitude for the day. Thank your God for putting you on this planet for, another day. Make it your best day. Yesterday was gone. Today, is be in the present. In the evening is usually when I do my warrior meditation. And so that's kind of how I break my personal meditation up. But everybody's different, and you can use, like I said, there's 27,000 different ones, and some of them have different sounds and backgrounds. And I mean, if people are interested, they can look that up, but it's a very useful application of that.
Cool. So what are a couple takeaways you would like for the people to have, as as it relates to meditation?
First, you have to invest in yourself, right? Pay the man, and the man is, you, right? So you have to invest in yourself. You have to take that time that is needed for you, because as like my mom said, if you try to make everybody happy, you usually don't make anybody happy. So if you can take care of yourself, then you can be a better husband, wife, partner, mom, dad, and really just, I think for my second takeaway would be, I think I said it before, just everybody starts where they start. Don't think that we have to, be this blissful, mindful, wonderful person every waking minute of every single hour. That's just not how we are as humans. But don't also punish yourself with doing that, and really try not to be. Sometimes we get caught up in helping so many others that we don't just take that time for ourselves, So I always come back to just make sure you have that time for you, and really question yourself. Maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally, So if we can process what's going on for me internally and kind of figure that out, it helps lengthen our fuse. It helps us get through our day and not be so angry or so upset or trying to figure out, I used to be a planner who tried to plan, right? The planner that's planning, and you end up not planning anything. So just realize too that, in so many ways we try to be God in our own world. We can't do anything about the past. We can't worry about the future because that's not set yet. So we just really have to worry about ourselves and the people around us. So that's probably my biggest takeaways from meditation.
Yeah.
As far as the quarantine and the pandemic goes, the more you resist, the more that it'll persist, so to speak. So if you try to, I'm a big put out the good stuff now, before I was kind of leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. And now it's, there's nothing that is more gratifying than being able to help someone find the language to what they've been feeling in their head, but they haven't really been able to understand it or know why they're feeling those type of things. Being able to help them find the words for that and guide them to maybe seek some help at a place like Save a Warrior is, that's my lifeblood now, right? That's what I'm here to do, so.
It really is. I definitely, I echo everything you're saying about yourself. I think you and I I think we really kind of connected like maybe 3 years ago. And it's just, it's been really fun as just an observer, because I'm sure it hasn't been totally fun for you kind of going through the change, but dude, it's night and day difference from what you are, or from what you were to what you are now. But, you're you're still the same guy too.
Oh yeah. I got to I've even got to remind my kids sometimes, hey, Dad's still a savage, like don't push it, but, but I'm still, I'm a warrior still, but I'm a warrior in a different way, and that's the way I look at it. And like I said, the more good vibes, good energy that you can put out, it's amazing how fast the universe then turns you into a magnet. And different things like, I'm blessed to be sitting here with you today having this conversation, and hopefully it reaches someone and they just start to research a few things that I might have said, and that helps them in some way or fashion,
For sure.
because it's very important.
Yeah. Well, Nick, If some people want to get a hold of you or they had some other questions, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
So this is what I kind of tell everybody. I usually give cards out to anybody that's talking, because some people kind of want to know, they've known my past and they're like, wow, this transformation is amazing. I don't really, what happened to you? But I'm always, excuse me, available on my cell, 740-225-4181. I answer all calls and texts except between the hours of 3 and 7. I'll still answer my phone, but if it's not an emergency, I'll make sure to just say, hey, I'll call you back after 7 o'clock, because that's kind of my barrier for my core family time. But other than that, I'm wide open. You can also reach me on Facebook. You can hit me up on Facebook. Nick Melo is, I think, my username, I believe. I'm also on Instagram,
I'll
Nick
tag you.
Melo _ATG. And feel free, if you know someone that is in need, if you know someone that a first responder, veteran, and you're interested in Save a Warrior and what it's all about, because it's a spiritual transformation and miracles happen at that place. And it's here in Newark, and they have another facility in California in Malibu. It's you can also look them up on Facebook. They do warrior meditation twice a day live. So if at all I can help, I'm more than willing to do so. I'm, like I said, I'm a warrior in a different way now, and and when I usually go all in on something, I'm all in, and I'm all in on this. So
That's awesome. Well, Nick, man, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your heart and your willingness to serve and just help. Yeah, just thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it.
hey, no, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely.